Hey, Jason, it's 6 o'clock. I'm gonna roll with the script. So
Okay,
we
sounds
can
good.
get that stuff done as people continue to join. So to conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate the purposes, the emergency procedures authorized by FOIA and the emergency ordinance, the Fairfax County Athletic Council needs to make certain findings and determinations for the record. This is a bit cumbersome, so I ask in advance for your patience. Audibility of members' voices. First, because each member of the Fairfax County Athletic Council is participating in this meeting from a separate location, we must verify that a quorum of members is participating and that each member's voice is clear, audible, and at an appropriate volume for all the other members. Accordingly, I am going to conduct a roll call, or Jason will, and ask each member participating in this meeting to state your name and the location from which you're participating. I ask that each of you pay close attention to ensure that you can hear each of your colleagues. Following this roll call, we'll vote to establish that every member can hear every other member. Jason, please conduct the roll call.
All right. Braddock District, Marcia Pape Daniels.
This is Marcia Pape, and I am participating from my office in the Braddock District.
Thank you. And Braddock alternate, Mark O'Meara. Drainsville District, Greg Beckwith.
I'm here from my vacation home in Duck, North Carolina.
Thanks, Greg. And Drainsville alternate, Brian Lewis. Hunter Mill alternate, Harold Leff.
Here, coming to you from Herndon, Virginia on my mobile phone.
Thanks, Harold. Lee District, Lisa Mickey. Lee District alternate, Bill Bright. Mason District, Barbara Lowry.
Here from my home in Mason District.
And Mount Vernon District, Lester Munson. Or alternate, John Corley. Providence District, Steve McLaughlin.
I'm here from my home in the Providence District.
And Providence alternate, Kelly Ego-Aswala. Springfield District, Mike Thompson.
Here from my office in Alexandria.
And Springfield alternate, Mark Heilburn. Sully District, Gary Flather. Sully alternate, Mark Abbott. I thought I saw Mark on here. All right, we can come back. Diversity at large, Mark Fernandez. Or alternate, Eric Sohn. Member at large, Catherine Quinn.
This is Catherine. I'm here from my home in Reston.
Thanks, Catherine. Alternate, Anne-Marie Swope. Town of Clifton, Jeff Stein.
I'm here, but the link to the video isn't working for me. Is anybody else having that issue?
The video's working fine for me.
It's working fine for me.
Okay. Yeah, I've clicked on it twice and it's just a blank screen, so I don't know what's going on. I'll just be on my phone. It's all good.
All right. Town of Herndon, Roland Taylor.
It's Roland Taylor at my home in Herndon, Virginia.
Thank you, sir. Town of Vienna, Sam Altoff. Baseball Council, Rob Haney. Basketball Council, Steve Bergstrom. Or alternate, Stu Clark. Fast pitch softball, Susie Williamson. Or alternate, Ryan Buchanan. Football Council, Mark Miana.
Mark Manna here from the Outer Banks. I'm in Greg Beckwith's pool in the deep end.
Thank you, sir.
We're sharing the same phone.
Football alternate, Ted Hollingsworth.
I'm here from Oakton, Virginia.
Thank you. Lacrosse Council, Marianne Wagner. Looks like she's up there.
Yep, there I am. I couldn't unmute. Marianne's here from my home in Great Falls.
Thanks, Marianne. Lacrosse alternate, Dave Paddock. Slow pitch softball, Christine Iddip. Soccer Council, Lula Bauer.
I'm here from Alexandria, Virginia.
And soccer alternate, Trish Moxie.
I'm here from Springfield, Virginia.
Volleyball Council, Chuck Pruitt.
I'm here from McLean, Virginia.
And alternate, Rob Bailey. Women's sports programs, Jenny Cantwell. And alternate, Hillary Richardson.
This is Hillary from our home office in Reston.
Thank you. Park Authority, Kurt Lewis.
I'm here in my home office in Fairfax.
Fairfax County School Board, Melanie Marin. And Bill Curran. Or Vicki Garner. And NCS, Lloyd Tucker.
Good evening, I'm here.
Thanks, Lloyd. Sarah Allen. Karen Avisado.
I'm here from Leesburg.
And Mark Martino.
I am here from home. Bill said, Karen said he wasn't going to be here. He thought John Chapman was going to be here. So I don't know, Jason, if John's here representing FCPS.
Okay. Is there anyone I missed that's here?
Anne Marie Swope is here at large.
Okay.
From
Great.
Reston.
Thanks, Anne Marie.
Sorry, thank you.
Hey, Jason, Mark Abbott is here. Chantilly.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mark. I see Kelly, are you there as well?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And John Chapman, were you here as well? Okay, that's it then, Steve.
Okay, thank you, Jason. At this point, I'm going to pass the virtual gavel over to Jason so that I can make the requisite motion. I move that each member's voice may be adequately heard by each other member of the Fairfax County Athletic Council. Is there a second?
I second that.
Are there any objections? The motion is approved.
Thank you. Second, having established that each member's voice may be heard by every other member, we must next establish the nature of the emergency that compels these emergency procedures. The fact that we are meeting electronically, what type of electronic communication is being used, and how we've arranged for the public access to this meeting. Therefore, I move that the state of emergency caused by the COVID-19 pandemic makes it unsafe for the Fairfax County Athletic Council to physically assemble and unsafe for the public to physically attend any such meeting, and that as such, FOIA's usual procedures, which require the physical assembly of the Fairfax County Athletic Council and the physical presence of the public, cannot be implemented safely or practically. I further move that the Fairfax County Athletic Council may conduct this meeting electronically via Microsoft Teams, and that the public may access this meeting by calling 1-571-429-5982, ID number 890-321-75 #. It is so moved.
And I second that.
Are there any objections? The motion is approved.
Finally, it is next required that all the matters addressed on today's agenda must address the emergency itself, are necessary for continuity in Fairfax County government, and or are statutorily required or necessary to continue operations and the discharge of the Fairfax County Athletic Council lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities. It is so moved.
And I second it.
Are there any objections? The motion is approved.
Okay, now we're into the main body of the agenda. I don't believe we have any citizens to address the council, but we do have a presentation. A coach's guide to mental health from the Monday Foundation. Which Monday wants to take it away?
This is Brian Monday here. Thanks for letting us
Welcome
come
back, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. Delighted to be here. I have with us a couple board members, Phil Cronin, who's an administrator within Herndon High School, Holly Monday, and Nancy Green is here from Foundation, is just taking notes on this. 2 seconds, I'll give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to show a little bit of video of excerpts from some of the training that we do. Then I'm going to go explain the training that we do, and then come back for a little bit of discussion. But a little over 2 years ago, we talked about mental health and coaches and the unique relationship. Today, as we're coming out of COVID, I think everyone is aware of the impact it's had on, athletes, has had on everybody coming out of it, and the mental health impacts that are going on out there. We think now more than ever is the timing of the on-demand training that we've put together makes sense for consideration for coaches at all levels. And to my point, we've developed an on-demand training, and one of the things that I will do on this is give you a little bit of an overview of where we're at on the thing, and then honestly we'll send you the link on the backside of this and let you take it for yourselves, let you assess for yourselves. Impactful. We did a couple things in design. We wanted to make it approachable for coaches. We wanted to give them a sense of empowerment to be able to have a conversation and address mental health. We wanted to make it reasonably short so that people could not feel overwhelmed with the amount of training time commitment in there, but still give them a tool to be impactful out there. Jason, let me suggest that maybe you want to do our overview video in here a little bit, because I think it helps people get a sense of some of the things where the conversations go.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Hold on one sec.
All righty.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Need the audio though.
Need the volume.
All right, hold on one second.
I wish I could go back.
Is that better?
To when I first started coaching, because the training for dealing with mental health is more important than any X's and O's you could ever have. Kids are coming in with stress. Kids are coming in with baggage from home. But when we have difficult conversations with kids about their life, it can mean their life. Today it is nonstop for kids. And the pressure that comes along with that is so immense. The ability to recognize that and then being able to respond to it creates a greater relationship between the coach and the athlete, and then ultimately carries forward in that athlete's life.
I think that our coaches and our administrators and our parents need to understand that athletes not only are dealing with what's going on and off the field, but they're dealing with the relationships, they're dealing with homework, they're dealing with bullying.
I think all coaches get into coaching to help students. We're just not all sure, exactly how to do that with this topic right here.
Players and athletes and young student athletes need to be able to talk about mental health issues as easily as they would a sprained wrist or a hurt knee. And until that's done, we have work to do.
The foundation was formed in memory of my son who passed away 10 years ago, and he took his life. The training gives an access, a view of how coaches can interact on a very functional level, in an incredibly impactful, positive level. But the training reaches to them and says, here's some basic fundamental skills that you don't have to be afraid of engaging in a conversation. And in fact, you can be an advocate and look to help a son or a daughter, a player through their journey.
This training is necessary for coaches, particularly high school coaches, but coaches throughout the county, because without question, they're often the first that are going to see when issues arise. Our coaches are really going to spend more time with our students, more so than any other person they're going to see in the building within the school day.
Your team will benefit from you having a stronger relationship with your players. They're going to trust you more. They're going to respect you more. They're going to listen more and react better to the things that you're telling them.
This training is allowing our coaches to understand there are people there to help. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to think you know all the answers.
It's going to make coaches aware that there's more out there than just what they're coaching the sport.
The one message I want is treat the player as an individual. Make sure you connect with them positively, whatever their situation.
Thank you, Jason. Jason.
Problem. Hold on one sec.
There.
There we go.
So I do want to spend just a couple minutes walking through, and I don't know, Jason, you can pull up the slides right now, and I promise I'll be very, very brief to go through this because, again, many of you all have heard the concepts before, but I'll just jump right in. I mean, today we're here to talk about mental health awareness, but it's really about the education that we've built with the on-demand training, which we call a Coach's Guide to Mental Health Awareness. As I'd mentioned previously, that it becomes amplified in the case of COVID, which is left us very disconnected out there. And as we get through that, I'm going to go a couple concepts through here and then talk about, what could be next steps that, I'd ask for consideration from the council.
Can you see the PowerPoint or no?
No, can't see it
I'm
yet.
seeing your team screen, Jason.
My team screen. All right.
I can see who's in the meeting in the chat box.
Here we go.
There you go.
Awesome. Flip forward. Flip. That's what I just give it. So let's go ahead and just dive right in on the thing. So real quickly, the Eric Monday Foundation is built to educate and help evolve coaches and key influencers by bringing awareness of the stigma associated with mental health challenges experienced by young athletes and competitors. Our goal is to take down the stigma, we borrowed it from a wrestling term, of mental health. We tried to educate and build a culture of inclusion. And within that, the key attribute of what we're trying to do is build instruction for coaches that work with youth athletes and high school athletes. And really the focus is on adolescents through here. So go ahead forward, Jason. So we teach a fundamental that outside of parents, that coaches may be the most important adult in a child's life. If you think about all of the sports that you all have coaches in and take, governance on, for those, especially for competitors, parents are number one, but as they go through adolescence, there's the push away that naturally happens. Oftentimes the coach becomes the number one adult outside of the parents in the life, if not ranked right up there, very close. The second thing we go through is a significant percentage of athletes experience mental health challenges. It's universal. No athlete, no athletic group is immune from that. And athletes experience the unique stresses and intensity of what they're doing, all the challenges, all the pressure that comes with being in there. And we teach a lot about thinking about the pressure pieces in there. I'm not going to cover through those today, but that's part of the training was in there. But on the flip side, they're the least likely to ask for help. Slide forward. We think that mental health demands engagement by everybody. And a lot of coaches go, not really what I need to be focused on. But it is something because the problem is not obvious. People are not willing to share information, that the stigma of being perceived as weird or weak and, friends, trying to harbor things. The coach is in that unique, trusted position to be able to engage in there. That's why we think it's critical that they have a baseline understanding of mental health and what to do and how to interact. The hard part of anytime you're talking about mental health, that you have to bring up the suicide potential conversation. It is the second leading cause of death for, the adolescent, young adult age group. And a huge percentage of teens have considered, and a huge percentage in my mind have attempted out there. So we talk on that, how to address when you have a true crisis situation. Next slide, please, Jason. We ultimately wrap it around a tool that we come back to after we give a background of adolescence, what's happening in there, how to react to it. After we talk about various signs to look for mental health challenges, we come back with a tool to help coaches engage. If you go through the training, it's set up so that you can understand where you're going and say, okay, now what am I going to do? Because one of the answers is you can't step away for somebody who's going through crisis or going through problems. They need a coach to step in because it's an important, trusted advisor in their life. So we teach them to listen. pay attention to their story, to use minimal encouragers. You know, it's hard sometimes. We just have to flat out listen. We teach them to accept, especially for somebody who's going through crisis. It's not your experience. It's not for you to put it right, but to suspend judgment and believe their account of their experience. And if the potential for harm or self-harm comes up, then you've got to be willing to ask the question in there. We'll talk about that in a second. We teach to support. You know, you're not going to say it's going to be all right. It's not about that. It's about making sure that as they're going through their journey, that you're offering hope and support and know that somebody is with them, lending the ego strength without trying to direct or dominate as they're going through that, this holding environment. And then to refer when we have real challenges. You know, it may be back to the parents, especially in a youth situation. It may be to others, it may be into the schools, but the point is to develop a protocol that says, I know beforehand if some crisis emerges, here's where I'm going to go with it. And ensure, secondly, that as you refer, that make sure that safety comes first. If you're truly in a crisis situation, that you never leave them alone. How do you work through that? So this is covered in the training. And lastly, you know, to report, you know, and this is really important in the school setting, but frankly, in youth sports also, you know, that you need to be able to report. There's protocols about how to do that. Confidentiality that needs to go in there, but somewhere it needs to be brought to attention in there in a crisis situation. Next slide, please. A lot of what we do in the training is teaching, as I mentioned, the signs to look out for, and we teach a little bit about mental health challenges, depression being the most common one probably that gets discussion. You know, we talk about things like where the risks are for finding depressive, but, you know, honestly, that, you know, again, going back to the adolescence, it often starts at, you know, this age of 11 to 14. So we go through a lot of that to give them tools for people to background, to have an understanding in there. Next slide, please. We teach in the crisis moment that, you know, if you can't ask the suicide question, we teach how to ask a suicide question, how to ask a self-harm. Are you thinking of you're hurting yourself is usually the typical way to start with that. Then you need to find somebody else you can. And we understand it's okay. It's a really hard thing to do because most of the time you're going to get pushed off. And we teach that, you know, you do not increase the risk by asking. In fact, you increase the risk by not engaging. And we go through some of the rationales of why that's the case in there. And it has a lot to do with, you know, this trusted advisor, this important person in a life is yet one more failure that's going on out there because they haven't cared enough to really ask and engage in there. Next slide, please. We teach how to differentiate between crisis or concern. And then we give sort of tactical pieces like in a slide like this to help go through and talk through this. You know, most of the time it's concerns, no question about it. You know, adolescents, one of the statistics back in is that, you know, over 40% of adolescents at some point have identifiable mental health concerns, challenges. And some say it's as high as 47 or 48%. There's different studies that are out there. You know, if you think about your team, you know, teams that are being coached out there, they're not immune to that. And 22% is the generally accepted statistic of ones that rise to what I call a material level. So that one of every 5 players that your coaches may be dealing with at some point may have you know, some level of real hard identifiable concern in there. So you got to be able to discern somewhat to that and know where some of the resources line up. And so we go through that. Next slide, please. We work on the role of the coach. To think about, you know, it's to be aware, be involved, to make regular inquiries. We teach about the, you know, going back to the laser, use the tool, help building the right culture, help building resiliency. Fairfax County Schools is really about building resiliency. One of the key metrics that they work on, the resiliency wheel. We go over and talk through that in the training. So all those pieces about building the right environment, I can't say that it's comprehensive in the training, but we talk about some of the core about building the right culture and, with a take down the stigma mindset. It's okay to have the conversations out there. Next slide. So I know that because I'm really mindful of time to go through things for people, and the power is really my ask is for each of you all to go through and take the on-demand training. It's set up, it lasts not more than 40 minutes. It's got, and you can think about youth sports. We have the ability to customize. So let's say that we wanted to do it for softball. And roll it out into the softball leagues, or you all roll it out in the softball leagues as suggested or required training. We could change out some of the video commentators so that, we've got people who are softball-based personalities in there, because we know that's important to coaches, that, identification. But I think you'll see as you're going through it that you've got a broad, diverse level of sports people, ages, to really have an understanding that there's going to be a way to make connection as people are going through that. We use the power of video a lot. You all saw a couple of them as we did the opening, I hate to call it teaser video, but, putting some of the pieces together. But, there are powerful statements that come out of people who've gone through some of the doubts that they naturally have, some of the challenges that are out there. It really helps to have an understanding of that. And, we did the other night, we did last night, we did a seminar on, coming out of COVID. What does it mean supporting our kids in a post-pandemic world? So this wasn't athlete focused per se, it was a broader piece on that. But right now, I think there's an increasing focus on, all aspects of life, thinking about the mental health challenges coming out there. And so what are the tools? What are the combinations? What are the recognitions that we need in dealing with mental health and coming at that? So I've talked for quite a bit. So Phil Cronin, I know you're on. I didn't know if you wanted to make a couple of color comments on things that I probably missed because I sped through, or from your perspective on there.
No. Thanks, Brian. So I know many of you on the council. It's good to virtually see you guys. I'm a board member with the Eric Monday Foundation. I was fortunate enough to coach him years back. I just wanted to say one of the things that I did bring in, and hopefully you guys will watch this and bring it back to your coaches. Having had to go through all the high school trainings myself, the VHSL mandates year in and year out, this is really streamlined. This program, I've like many of you, I've done a lot of those trainings. I've done the heads up training for football, and it really, it's very interactive, and it's very practical. It's coaches talking to coaches, which is great, I think. And again, it's streamlined for it's not going to eat up a lot of your coaches' time, but it is impactful. I'd be happy to talk in more detail. I know it's, you got a lot of other things probably on your agenda. You can get a hold of me through FCPS or, Phil Cronin, PS Cronin at FCPS if you have questions. But this is a worthwhile program at all levels. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
Good. Thank you, Phil. So I thought I'd just open up for questions or comments, and then maybe we could talk about, potential next steps if the interest level. And maybe need to let everybody go through it, and then we talk more about the next steps in there on how people may want to adopt or implement.
Okay, thanks, Brenna. I'm looking for hands to pop up, but in the meantime, we have established the best practices committee, whose goal or the purpose is to disseminate this kind of information to coaches and families. So I think that's certainly a candidate for next step in terms of broader dissemination. My assumption is that we're going to get a link so each of us can view this, and that's going to come from Jason, or yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so those are my two initial thoughts. Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, it looks like Mike Thompson has his
Mike?
hand raised.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to suggest, clearly the council has a limited, there's only so much we can do. One thing that I'm wondering though is, as a recommendation to NCS, Mark, Karen, you guys, in the past, sometimes in the winter going into the spring distribution of permits, you have held meetings where every organization that had to that was receiving permits had to attend that meeting. I would think that this winter, especially coming out of the coronavirus stuff that we have gone through, that you guys would probably be thinking about doing that again. One suggestion would be it might be smart to work with Brian and the foundation and think about it like a 20-minute quick presentation that could be made there, because in that room will be a significant administrator from every organization that gets permits from the county. And that could be a simple way to distribute this, and maybe to think about those kinds of meetings as opportunities for, especially something like this, which the school system has adopted, to really try to integrate over into the youth side. So I just want to point out that I know we as a council can only make policy recommendations to governing bodies, but that might be my recommendation to NCS as a way to distribute material.
And we would certainly support, the opportunity to do, that and do education. I've tried to be truncated, being respectful of people's time tonight, but yes, we'd love to give even a broader overview or send it out in advance and then be open for Q&A of how to roll it out.
Marcia?
Yes. I would just on behalf of the Best Practices Committee, this is definitely the type of thing that we talked about at our first meeting. And this is something that I think would be very helpful if we could provide a link, as well as doing what Mike just said about getting it directly out to groups, but to provide the link so that it's also available online. And we can talk a little bit about how we'll do that with the Best Practices Committee, but I think this would be the type of thing we'd like to include because it's extremely important.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands, so I do want to thank Brian for the presentation and for the materials that you prepared. I think we hooked you up with the right committee, and Mike had a good suggestion there on broader dissemination to that permit holding universe, which is everybody in the county who uses facilities. So hopefully that will bear some fruit.
Good. So from our standpoint, Nancy will send over the link then to Jason for distribution then.
Yes, sir. Jason is the central point for all communications. Thanks.
Good. And I think you all find it is great education. And again, it's 40 minutes max. So I think you'll find it very, very interesting and enlightening.
Thank you. Shorter than the average athletic council meeting. So. Okay, thanks again. I'm going to continue on with the agenda. We have the minutes from the April meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Mike Thompson. I move that we adopt the minutes.
Second?
This is Marcia. I second.
Is there any objection to approval of the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Chairman's report. I am happy to report that I'm going to be handing this gavel here over to somebody else after the meeting today, because we have an election and nomination committee. But before I get to that, I want to query NCS. We're going through the remote agenda and the notices and everything. I had understood that that the county attorney and there was inquiring, or there were some developments potentially at the state level that would allow for some form of remote meeting going forward under FOIA. Is there any update on that? Does anybody?
Yeah, Steve, we don't have an update on that, but we will, we'll follow up with that, this week and get back to you.
Yeah, you know, I do like seeing everybody in person, and I miss not having seen anybody for 14 months, but I don't miss driving from downtown DC out to Fairfax on you know, in the evening. And it just seems that there are some benefits to teams and everything that we could all take advantage of without negatively impacting public access. And in fact, arguably, we're more accessible to the public. They can just drop in. Anyway, that's my pitch to keep that going. I want to get on to the, I got an echo there. I'm not sure why. I'm going to try again. That sounds better. So the nominating committee was Mike and I. Thank you, Mike, for your contributions, but we did consult with lots of people, including NCS staff. We're looking, when it came to filling the officer positions, the chair, vice chair, and the secretary, looking for people with knowledge and experience in athletic council activities, appropriate temperament and diplomatic skills, and a demonstrated ability to consider the opinions of others and look at the bigger picture. I'm happy to say we came up with a consensus list of candidates, and we asked the candidates if they'd be willing to serve, and they all said yes. So it's a happy confluence of events, and I'm pleased to provide to you the nominations. They are for Chairman Lula Bauer, Vice Chairman Gary Flather, and Secretary Lisa Mickey. That is the nominations committee recommendation.
This is Mike Thompson. I move that we accept the slate by acclamation.
Is there a second?
It's Roland Taylor. I second that motion.
Okay, absent any objection, which I'm waiting to hear, the slate is approved. Congratulations, Lula. We'll get congratulations to Gary when he's next in town. And Lisa, I appreciate all three of you. And I think it is worth noting that Lula Bauer will be our first female chair of the athletic council. That's long overdue, but I couldn't think of a finer person, Lula, to take on that role than you. So I'll give you a few moments for an acceptance speech.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I am honored and flattered. I have been a part of the council since 1919, not 20, but 1995. I was first a district rep, and I served as a district rep for a number of years until I transferred over as a sports rep. I've been involved in a number of projects and tasks throughout the last 10 years, and I've always really enjoyed being part of the athletic council and moving forward. So I'm very honored, and I look forward to taking the helm of the athletic council. But Steve, you've certainly made them very, very big shoes to fill.
I'm happy to help you fill those in any way I can, and I think that goes for all previous officers. I found them to be a good support group, and to provide me guidance when I didn't know what I was doing, which was more frequent than I would like to think. But it's a good group, and we're going to be better for your leadership. So thank you, Lula. No one's happier about this than me.
Well, thank you, everybody.
One of the things you have to work on is getting your successor when that time comes. But thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody's confidence. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to move into sports reps reports and see. I guess the big question is with the CDC guidance, but I'll leave that for the school board. I guess I think it's too soon for us to be taking action on that. But let's go ahead with the list, Jason. You're on mute, Jason.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Baseball, it looks like Rob, I think, signed on. I thought I saw him. Hey, Rob, are you there? All right. Next is basketball. I don't believe anyone's here. Football Council, Mark or Ted?
Mark or Ted, what the hell's going on there?
No.
No.
Everybody can be replaced.
We're in full registration by the majority of participating clubs, and obviously anxiously watching for clarifications of going forward. But it looks pretty positive all around at this point, anyway. So that's about it.
Thank you, sir. All right, Lacrosse Council, Marianne.
Yes, our spring season's going well. We, for NVYLL, we did shorten it a little bit just to accommodate the reduced schedule and availability of fields, but things are going well. And I'd just like to say congratulations to the new slate of officers. And I will just put in my 2 cents that I would welcome more teams meetings also. So thank you.
All right. Soccer Council.
Yes, I agree. I would welcome more teams meetings. Absolutely. So this time of year for soccer is the most stressful, toxic time of year. It is tryout season. So everybody is in stress mode, then coming out of COVID as well. So that's where soccer is. I will say we're all getting inundated. It's getting warmer out, it's getting hotter out, and a lot of the membership soccer families are asking, when can we stop wearing masks, especially now that we're going into the summer months. But other than that, Trish, do you have anything that you would like to add? No. So other than that, that's it for soccer. It's crazy time of year.
Thanks. Volleyball Council.
Yeah, hey everyone, it's Chuck. Spring season's been going on pretty well. As you heard me report out before, I'd say about 60% of the organizations held a recreational season this year, which is pretty good given the circumstances. Same exact issues as the other sports. Folks are asking right now, do they have to wear masks? We have some outdoor volleyball going on as well, so that's a venue where folks are wondering if it should continue. But we are been pretty firm. Masks are still required. Obviously, most of the kids are not vaccinated at this point. Parents and some high schoolers are, but for the most part, the mandate's still in place. So, and people understand. No one's really kind of fighting it. They just want to know if there's an end point. For my own program in McLean, again, we had a really good turnout, more than we expected. But I do want to have a shout out, thanks to Mike Thompson and the Fairfax County Park Authority. We were able to, there's a shortage of gyms. Most other programs are probably experiencing indoor programs, basketball. And we were able to shift some of our practices outdoors in one of the local parks here in McLean in Lewinsville Park. And that's worked out beautifully. I think the spring air was very positive for a lot of people getting a chance to be outside, unlimited number of fans, as long as they're socially distanced. So it worked out pretty well. So again, big thanks to you guys for helping make that happen. That's it.
Looks like Rob, you got your hand up.
Yes, sorry. I missed my report. Quick baseball report. Yeah, we have only real update is we're having a State of Baseball Summit this Monday, upcoming Monday, with Little League, Babe Ruth, Legion, travel, some high school coaches, adult, everybody basically but adult baseball. This is a youth sort of travel baseball, or excuse me, youth baseball summit on growing and promoting the game in Fairfax County. And we're excited about that. That's upcoming this Monday afternoon. We're having a luncheon. And that's all I have.
That's it, Steve.
Okay. Searching for my agenda. Okay, thank you. So we're going to the governing bodies, and is there somebody from the school board?
I don't see anybody that signed on.
Okay, so we can go to the Park Authority. Kurt and Mike.
One quick item is holiday field conversion. We'll start sometime thereafter, right after Father's Day. And that's really about it. We did do some infield work at Hughes Road and Mason Neck, and that's about it for me. I'm hoping Mike might give you an update on the executive director's hiring, if there's any change. I don't know.
You picked anybody, Mike?
The process is underway. We are hopeful. The ad went up. People have applied. The process is being worked through. It is still our hope that we have a new executive director. I think the target date is currently September timeframe. That we'll have a new executive director in place and working with us. As you all know, the parks, there's a lot going on at the parks, and the one request that I'd have of everybody is just recognize that there are a lot of people going outside and using parks right now. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, it's not our golf courses are at a record, but now, especially as the weather has gotten nice, there's people on fields, there's people in just open space everywhere else. Please say a kind word to staff. They are behind sometimes just getting things done. There is so much overuse in certain areas right now. So just hopefully things have seemed to have gone pretty well this season, and there's going to be a lot of work going on. So just a reminder that if you see your folks, if you see the staff out there doing things and working fields, be kind. Recognize it may take a little longer to pick up every trash can or to get everything done. And we just appreciate your help in that area. Beyond that, I would just remind folks that we are going to be going as we get ready for the summer season. A lot of people have asked about summer camps and stuff. There is a modified process there, and you can see that online at the Park Authority website through the Park Takes online publication. You can see what options are out there, but that's the best place to get the information for that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any questions for the Park Authority? I'll move to NCS, and I just ask, excuse my ignorance, I've been reeling on the government side with responding to the CDC guidance and its changes to our safety plan. Has there been any guidance from the governor on in light of the CDC guidance yet?
So yeah, so I have a couple things on that. One is we're waiting on the school system to put something out, and we've been told that that's going to happen tomorrow. We've also been told that they're going to be following the governor's guidelines. So hopeful that at least outdoor the masks will be removed anyway. So tomorrow we're going to be sending out a big message to all users and to this council, the exact guidance. We're getting beat up too by so many phone calls and emails and groups saying, what's going on. And so we were told that after the principals meeting tomorrow, the school system will let it, release something, and that, we just need to make sure we're in sync with them. We don't want 2-3 different messages going out. So it'll be tomorrow that's going to happen. So that was the one thing I had for you guys. The other thing is I'm going to let Jason, actually, let's let Lloyd talk about the update on the budget. Are you there, Lloyd? Are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen. Good evening, everybody.
So first, I just want to give a shout out and thank Mr. McLaughlin for the action and those who supported and helped him with crafting the letter and advocating for the additional funds, as well as Chairman McKay for the support that he gave and advocacy as well. So as you all know, or may know, the board did vote to increase the scholarship fund this year by $150,000. So congratulations, as per the Athletic Council's recommendations. The funding will be allocated through our third quarter budget package. And moving forward, we will be asking the county exec, Brian Hill, to approve this funding in the NCS budget for next year and also moving forward past next year. So although the future years aren't guaranteed, we are excited about that the Board of Supervisors saw fit to make this fund happen this year and for it to be considered moving forward in the normal budget process in future years.
That's great news, Lloyd, and that's the first challenge for Lula is keep that money coming.
Yeah, and I will just say with that becomes, we have to launch immediately that scholarship committee. And those of you that are interested in joining that, we just need to do a deep dive into the current scholarship program and with an equity lens and all of that and make sure that we're distributing these funds in an equitable manner. So we'll stay tuned for that.
And then I just had one thing, Steve. I don't know if it was before we went virtual. Carla Bruce, the Chief Equity Officer for Fairfax County, gave a presentation on the One Fairfax policy that's been adopted throughout the county. And what they've asked is all the boards and commissions throughout the county to watch a short video. It's a 10-minute video and basically just acknowledge the One Fairfax policy. So every Fairfax County council member needs to, watch the video and then just sign like a brief acknowledgement form. Sorry, gotta dry throat. And I'll be sending out that information tomorrow. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be able to help y'all. Sorry, my voice just went.
Okay. I got something for you to drink here, but it's not water. It's
Is that
medicine.
something that they could actually watch, you think, Karen, I don't know, or Lloyd, we could watch in a meeting and then they could watch it one time, or that's the individual?
We're going to send it out to them and they're going to watch
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
And if you guys have any problems, with the acknowledgement, I can access who's done it through our SharePoint site. I think I actually saw Mike Thompson already did one for the Athletic Council. So if you have any issues going through that process, just give me a ring or shoot me an email, and I can walk you through it. No problem.
Mike, you got your hand up.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to note that that we have to make sure, and all of us should encourage all the alternates. I mean, everybody who is a member of the Athletic Council has to go through this, and anybody who's involved in any other board with the county, you have to do it separately for each body you're on. One does not cover you for everything you do.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I'm moving towards the end, new business and old business. This is both new and old. I do want to acknowledge the service of Carl Cohen, who recently resigned from the Athletic Council because he moved to Rehoboth. And I guess he's not coming back, Mark, like I know you're in the Outer Banks there with Greg, but he's not planning on coming back. So
it's horrible here. It really is. It's horrible. This is a task. We got our notebooks though, and we're dedicated.
I appreciate you giving it up for us this evening.
And Steve, on that note, I actually received an email from Jim Elder, has also resigned his position, and they're looking for a replacement for Hunter Mill District right now.
I know a guy. They have a good alternate, so they'll be in good stead, at least in the interim.
He's online. He's already into it.
Okay, if there's any other new or old business, if not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
This is Mike Thompson. I move we adjourn.
I'll second that and wish everyone a safe and happy return to maskless activity sometime in the not too distant future. So long, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.